Hi, I'm Trishawn Anderson. If you work with families where the children's primary caregiver is a grandparent, other relative, or a close family friend, then this video is for you. Our topic is the legal issues kinship and grandfamilies face and how to address them. Here, in their own words, kin caregivers from Generations United's Grand Voices describe their experiences with the legal system.
No one ever asked me or talked to me like, do you need support? It wasn't even asked. It was just like, oh, you gonna take the kids? Okay, good. Next.
Was a very trying time. The court system moved right along. I was not given any information by the social service agency, but I had to show up.
That first day in court, it was like they were throwing terms around that we just looked at each other and were like, what is like a GAL, and what is temporary custody, and what is all these other terms that we knew nothing about.
So, how can you help kinship families address their legal concerns? There are several ways a child may join a family. If a child enters a grandfamily through foster care, the family is assigned a caseworker, and the agency has legal custody and makes the rules for things like what needs to be provided for the child, how responsibility is shared, and what's required to exit the foster care system. Grandfamilies in foster care may receive more financial help than those who aren't in that system. But the vast majority of grandfamilies are caring for children outside the foster care system, and they often face complicated legal issues. Here are some of the things they need to know. Kin caregivers do not have automatic parental rights just because a child is a family member. The lack of legal documentation can make it difficult for kin caregivers to enroll a child in school or make an appointment with the doctor. There may be options for enrolling a child in school or accessing healthcare without involving courts or lawyers, like having family documents. Encourage families to create a file of documents that shows a child lives with them and that they are responsible for the child's care. Examples of documents include tax returns, birth certificates, medical records, and so forth. Some states have consent forms that kin caregivers can sign that allow them to enroll a child in school, make healthcare decisions, or both. In some places, schools use the McKinney-Vento Act, which provides educational access for unaccompanied youth to allow kids to remain in their home school districts or enroll where their kin caregiver lives. For more information on local rules, check out the state fact sheets at gksnetwork.org, or check with the child's pediatrician and school district to find out how permissions for medical care and school enrollment are handled. If the child's parent is available and willing to cooperate, a power of attorney can grant a kin caregiver limited and temporary authority to make decisions for a child. More permanent legal custody arrangements typically require professional legal help. Many families have no experience with the court system, and that can be intimidating. Caregivers will need advice at each step in the legal process, including information on the required paperwork and who will represent them at court hearings. You can help by seeking out low or no-cost legal services in your community. Build relationships with these programs so you can make referrals as needed. A family's legal options include legal custody or guardianship. Families may prefer a legal relationship determined by the court. For example, if the kin caregiver is worried that a parent will want to take charge of their child's care before they're capable of doing so. This may be called legal custody or guardianship. It may be temporary, limited, or permanent. The name and rules vary depending on where you live. Finally, there's adoption, which makes a child's tie to their kin caregiver permanent. The parent's rights are terminated, and the kin caregiver becomes the legal parent forever. Adoption can be costly. One grandmother shared that adopting her 3 teenage grandchildren required $30,000 of her retirement funds. It's important to remember that a family's legal preferences may change as their circumstances change. Temporary relationships may move into a more permanent one as time goes on. Professionals can help families consider what legal arrangements best match their current situation and figure out the next steps to make that happen. Legal custody issues are complicated, particularly because of the wide variations in laws from place to place. Remember these tips as you help kin caregivers navigate legal custody and guardianship issues. Number 1, kin caregivers do not have automatic parental rights. Number 2, there may be options for enrolling a child in school or accessing health care without involving courts or lawyers. Number 3, a power of attorney can grant a kin caregiver limited and temporary authority to make decisions. Number 4, more permanent legal custody arrangements require professional legal help. And number 5, a family's legal preferences may change as their circumstances change. Children thrive in grandfamilies and kinship care, and your help in navigating the legal system makes that journey easier.